it's still snowy out. All right, so I thought what I'd do today is I have to go around and go pick up a bunch of safety lines that I keep out in the trees, just to not leave them out there throughout the winter, because it's just not good for them. And a lot of people haven't really ever seen this property, so I figured I'd just show it to everybody. Okay, we're getting to the first one here. It's really hard to walk in the snow. It is a little bit warmer today, so everything's starting to melt some. But it's still really hard to walk in the snow. So, here's the first one. This is just down the hill from the house. It's kind of designed to be a quicker stand to get in and out of. Just if you want to hunt, like, you know, right before work or whatever. But these are the safety lines I was talking about, because we always try to stay clipped in whenever we're here. So now I just got to go take this thing down. Okay, so this right here is basically like the main trail that we run off of. So right behind me, that way, is where I generally come in at. But most of the stuff that we do will come down here. Other than that first stand, there's another one that's on the front of the house. My house kind of faces away from the street anyway. Not kind of, it faces completely away from the street. So my driveway is straight back behind me. It comes up and then turns. So, but this is generally our main trail that we come through just to get down all of our other stand sites and just access the rest of the woods. So this is my neighbor's property right here. This is about as close as I get to having a neighbor. Because I can't see any of my other neighbors. I really can't see him if we're just sitting at the house. But obviously if he was standing right here, I'd be able to see him. He does have a stand kind of just right here on the edge of his property. I want to say he's got like 26 and I've got 40. So there's a fair amount of land just between the two of us. And he's a pretty cool guy. I mean, I get along with him fine. So I do have binoculars on. I failed to mention that before. That's just in case if I see something that looks like a deer antler, so I can go grab it. Because like I said, the snow is really hard to walk in. It's not very pleasant to walk in. You're sinking down pretty deep. You're breaking through the ice that is there. But all right, let's just keep going. Let's go on to the next one. All right, so we made it down here close to the next one. This is kind of across the way. So I don't know if you can see, I got a neighbor way back there. Let's see if I can zoom this thing in. Way back there. He's pretty far away, but we do share. Our properties are actually connected, but it's on the back side. I don't know him, I've never met him, but this is an area, I don't know what this was ever used for. So I just kind of I've pushed some brush here. Some of it was already here from the previous owners where they cut down trees. I'm assuming making the trail, because there are a lot of cedar trees. I've got a ton of cedar trees. Like there's this big one right here. I got a couple of other ones that are just absolute giants. There's quite a lot of trees here, a lot of different variety of trees. So this one, I do not have a tree stand style. Whoever owned the property before me, there's been a lot of turkeys in here. Whoever owned the property before me, the people we bought it from, they built this. This was completely enclosed earlier this year. In about September-ish, late September, beginning of October, we came in and started clearing all this. But if you can see how tall the brush is right down in here, I mean, it was well over the tractor. And this is where I broke. It's where I got into the grill of the tractor. It's where I broke my fuel filter off right down there. But before winter's over, or maybe like right at the very beginning of spring, we want to come back in and finish off the rest of this. That's what I'm going to be using, that saw blade that's on the end of the weed whacker, that Renegade blade. I'm going to try to use that to get a lot of it, and then come back in with the tractor when everything's a lot lower, so they can just chomp everything else up. But since it is winter and there's not a lot of leaves on any tree, you can kind of see up in here that where it starts to clear out and kind of runs down, just goes across this way. That is my property. There's my main field. So I can kind of see the house from up in the blind. Yeah, you can kind of see it up in there. But yeah, hoping that this will end up being a decent site. Like we're talking about putting like just doing like a food plot, because this stuff, it was hard to see underneath the snow, and there is a ton of activity in here. You can see that's not from me. My dog definitely does not come over here. But this stuff is just all these broken down cedars where they had cleared it at one point in time and then left all these dead trees just in these piles. And so it has been cleared at one point, and it hasn't been touched in probably 5 years. So now it's just a matter of coming in and cleaning it up. But there are stumps everywhere. So you can see like one right here. It's there, and they're everywhere in here. So you don't want to just leave it, because then it's just gonna, with this being such a steep hill, it's just gonna erode off down into the creek bottom down there. This property right here, right in here, this is not mine. So mine starts like right here and goes over. So I can't, if we are hunting this, we can't shoot like across the gully. I can hear something coming from over here. But anyway, I did put a feeder out here just to try to give the deer something, especially throughout the winter. They've been hitting the corn really hard just because it's so cold. It has been so cold past few weeks, and the corn just has a lot of carbs, so it helps keep them a little bit warmer. So, but hopefully this will turn into a good area, and we can make like a nice food plot, so they'll have somewhere to come. Deer like to bed in some of this stuff, like right up in here on these hillsides like this, and primarily because there's the sun right there, and it'll keep them warm most of the day. So they really like to bed on south facing slopes. So this is southish, not quite, but it's kind of southish, and there's the way that the hill actually kind of curves around. There's more parts of it that are more south facing down here, because that's where they get the most sun, so they can try to stay warm. They generally stay pretty warm as is, but lately it's been down in single digits some of the nights, so that's been a little frigid even for them. So this is, like I said, this is it. I did not build this. It is actually sturdier than what it looks ish. It's okay, it's not bad. Mice like it up there. We did try to make some improvements to it, and I think we're going to do some more this spring, where I put the camo netting around it, and it's just a matter of clearing out the rest of this, and hopefully getting some sort of seed in to where it'll help the deer for nourishment. But there, I don't know if you can see up in there, there's a chair, and I got a little butt seat. If you can see it, I can't tell. There's a little orange butt seat down there that you put on that chair. And I've got a little heater if you want to be real lazy, and you just stay nice and cozy, and you get internet up here, so you get good service up here. Apparently there's been a lot of turkeys down here, because I can see turkey tracks. But yeah, there's nothing to grab at this one. You don't stay tied in when you're in one like this, in a box blind like this. So, and it is attached to the tree that's right behind it, and it's in the ground. So I'm really not that concerned about it. There's two of these. There's one more at the bottom of the hill, but the way they put it in at the bottom of the hill, there's a lot of moisture down there. It's where where the creek kind of runs through, and it is rotted as can be. And I won't even get up in there. There are chairs and stuff up in there, but I'm just going to pull it over, and I'm not going to try to get up in there. All right, so we're going to go down to the second one, or to the next one. I'm really hoping I can make it back up this hill, so you can kind of see how deep the snow actually is. but when you step in down into it, you're breaking into ice. And it's, like I said, it's melting right now, so it's kind of packing down even more, just making it more slick. All right, so on to the next one. So I'm hoping the GoPro kind of caught that, but there was about 15 turkeys down here. We kind of ran off coming down, but you can see like here, I don't have like a conventional feeder, but this is where I do have corn down here, and they'll come down here, and turkeys and deer will come down here and scratch at it. They're still flying down out of the trees. Little rascals. I don't know if there's that much more corn. There's no corn left in there. So they've already demolished all of it between the turkeys and the deer. So, like I said, the corn, it's got carbs in it. I know humans kind of try to watch it and kind of think if they're bad, but carbs do relate to energy, so it keeps our bodies a little bit warmer throughout the year. So here we are at the next one. This one is, I pretty much set up all the metal ones that are like this. Me and my cousin have come through and set them all up. I really have high hopes, I guess, for this area, because we've not really messed with it that much. I kind of stumbled across it the one year. So really hoping that this could turn into a good area. There's deer that like to bed right down in here on this slope right here, right on this hillside. And I guarantee there's deer down there right now. Probably, not even 75 yards from me. And they like to bed up in here too. So I'm really wanting to come in here and clear out a bunch of these cedars. Like there's way too many cedars in here, so you can't really see all that well. I only set up here once this year, and I had a deer come up in bed right down behind these trees. She came up and just laid down right there, which is really cool to see. But I'd like to get some of that stuff cleared out of here so we can try to use this area. It's really nice because you can see once you're up in the stand, this whole other hillside up here. And it's just nice to be able to see up that far. It just keeps you engaged when you're sitting out here on long hunts. But so I'm gonna get this rope off of here, and then we'll go on to the next one. All right, I'm gonna see if I can't do this one-handed. So this area down here was kind of the same as up there. It was, I will turn this off for a second. It was way overgrown, and I was able to come down here with the tractor, I guess late summer, and was able to open up a lot of this. You can only open it up so far because you got all these cedars. Right here at the last stand where I was talking about, the deer like to bed right up in there, where you can start seeing it getting really thick up in there. So they do like to bed there. This is probably one of my favorite areas down here, just because it's nice to come down here even when it's hot, or it is hot or whatever, and just to come down here and hang out. But we're going to go on down. I'll show you another spot down here that I really like. It's one of those that makes you happy for buying a place. But you can see how much activity comes through down here, and they're just walking through. I don't have a stand or anything down here. I did put in a blind, but when you're dealing with bottoms like this, the wind is completely unpredictable. It's very difficult to try to conceal yourself from the deer. And I really am a person, I like to watch them more than the actual hunt. I would almost prefer just sitting there kind of watching them, because after that's when the real work starts up. But it's really nice down in here. So there's a creek right there. The first year we were here, we had a long period without rain during the summer. And we have never ever, turn this thing off again. So this creek right here gets really deep. It's kind of iced over right now. I mean, you can see where deer have walked on top of it. So it is iced over for the most part. I mean, they're starting to break it up there a little bit, but there's always water in here. Like even this past year, we had probably about a month where we really didn't have any significant rainfall, and there was still 3 feet of water in here, and it was ice cold. So it is nice having water, and always having water. I don't ever foresee it going dry. The guy we bought the house from, or the property from, he said the same thing. He said he's never seen this stuff go dry down here. So there's a pretty big pocket, like I said, right here. There is another one that's further down at another crossing over there where it's a relatively deep pocket. There's another deep pocket right over here, which I will just walk over there and we're gonna drive. Driving's easier. Okay, and just give you an idea about how good this place can be. We were just standing right here, just right over there. You can see four-wheeler tracks. That's what a four-wheeler track looks like. Nobody else has been down here, and it is completely torn up. I mean, the deer and the turkey. I get a lot of coyotes walking through right here too, which hopefully I'll be able to do something about that here soon, but especially before the deer's fawns start dropping and the turkeys start laying their eggs here in the spring. But you can see just how much they tear it up down here. I got a donkey too. It's not mine, but he keeps coming on the property, and he likes to go up underneath these feeders. And he's a donkey. He's an idiot. So he just knocks him over. So right here's one of the other stands that we got. But this area right back here behind it, right back up in here, that is not mine. This is right here. So we kind of sit with our backs face to the neighbor's property, but you'll see a lot of deer and turkey coming down off the hills, off the hillside right there and right up in here. So it is a nice area. And right here is that other stand that is just like the one up there, but it's just going to get pulled down. It is this leg right here. That leg right there is completely rotted, and the one on the other side's even worse. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this one down. If I zoom this camera back out, I'm gonna go ahead and take this one down. This is probably our tallest stand right here, so it's not bad to be up in. I mean, you get a really good vantage point. It's a lot of fun sitting up there. Like I said, you can see a lot of activity coming through here, but it's the same as some of the other areas. It needs to be cleared out more. Once it gets cleared out, it should be really good. And right here's another pocket. There's another pocket of water right here. I have no idea what's feeding that, but it's always got water in it. So I'm saying if it gets too full, it'll run down this drainage ditch and then the other side of the creek over here. But you can see there's no ice on that one. So I'm thinking it's an underground spring. But then there's this is where the other creek comes in from right here. And there's another giant pocket that's right up here against that ledge. And it stays relatively deep as well. So I'm gonna go take that other thing down. All right, so here we are. We're pretty much at the last one. There was one other one before this. I'm not going to be able to get that hill. I had the four-wheeler and four-wheel drive, and it is too slick out. It would have been better yesterday, but it was like 20 degrees yesterday, and today it's like 30 degrees, so it's almost a heat wave. It's a huge difference. So this is one of my favorite areas up here. I really enjoy coming up here. I just always enjoy sitting up here. There's always a good breeze, so even when it's warmer out, it's just a nice place to come and sit. I can see, the bad part is, once I put my stand up, I didn't realize it because it was summertime. but I can see my neighbor's elevated tree stand right there. So he'll drive up on his, I think he's an older guy too, so he doesn't come out before the sun comes up. So it'll be about 8 o'clock in the morning and he'll come moseying on out there with his Ranger. So here's my stand. It's probably, it's one of my shortest stands, but it is by far and away my favorite stand. It doesn't look comfortable, but if you put your stand in the right tree, it makes all the difference. So I've always really enjoyed sitting up in that stand. It's peaceful, it's nice. And then I did put a feeder up here too. And if you're wondering to yourself, strike that last part. And I did put a feeder up right here too. And if you're asking, why is there an orange strap around there? Go ahead and ask. Well, I'll tell you, it's funny you should ask. The stupid donkey keeps knocking the thing over. So it's that one and the one at the bottom of the hill, the other black one, they're both 450 pounds or 400 or 450 pound hoppers in there. And corn's not ridiculously expensive, but it's not cheap either. And usually when I go to buy corn, I'm buying it. The last time was 1,000 pounds. The time before that was 1,500 pounds. And that loads me up for usually a couple of months. But when he knocks the feeder over and you got 400 pounds of corn on the ground, that's just a waste of money. And they will eat it, and the deer, well, I mean, you can see kind of the same thing as down there, just how chewed up the snow is right here where they walk right through here constantly. It's not, I'm fine that the corn does get eaten, but I don't want it eaten that fast because it's not necessarily good for them either. It's the same thing with horses. It's not a good idea to give horses a lot of, strike all this last stuff right here, just take it out. So I don't mind that the corn is on the ground that much because they will eat it. So it's not like throwing the corn away, but I don't want them to eat it all at one time just because it does get expensive. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna climb up here and grab this last harness up here. The reason I'm grabbing them too, I don't think I actually said, is it is a rope material and it's a safety line. So they do have an expiration date on the tags, and so you want to make sure that I want to try to extend that out as much as I possibly can, just to make sure that the ropes don't start to get dry rotted, because they will go through a lot. I usually put them back up end of August, very beginning of September, and in Kentucky, our season starts at the very beginning of September. So it's usually the first Saturday in September anyway. So I usually try to put them up around that time, because I'm usually out doing corn and stuff like that a few weeks beforehand, or maybe right around. It just depends on how hot it is. But it is a nice property. It's not bad. I mean, it definitely needs a lot of work, which may sound ridiculous, but that's kind of the part that I actually enjoy about having property, is just doing the cleanup. And I want to make the habitat as good for the deer as humanly possible. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.